Leonardo da Vinci once said that time waits just long enough for those who use it. So the question is, what are you doing with your time? We all have 24 hours in a day. What are you doing with your time? Are you building your dream? Or are you helping someone else build theirs? Are you putting in the work every single day, every single moment of now? Are you planning for your future? They say planning is bringing the future into the present so you can do something about it now. So the question is this: what are you doing with your time? Remember, the time is always now.
And thank you for joining me for the Time Is Always Now podcast. My name is Terence Young. I'm your host for the podcast. Thank you for joining me. This is a podcast that's dedicated to helping people get past their excuses. Helping people get past saying, I'm going to do it someday or one day, and saying, I'm going to do it right now because now is the only time we have. If you don't know who I am a new thought transformational speaker, a mindset coach, an author, a runner, and a workshop facilitator. And I help people change their paradigms and help them harness the power in the eternal moment of now. So if you want to donate to the podcast, by all means, you can do so. Just go to my website. It's TerenceYoungNow.com. Terence is spelled with one E, with one R and an E. Terence. So you can go there and donate. Thank you in advance for helping me continue to do what I do, which is offer these messages of inspiration, of encouragement, and ideas that you can use tangibly in your life right now to change your life. Right here, right now. That's what it's all about. Thank you for joining me. So every week in the Time Is Always Now Facebook group, which if you haven't joined, join us over there. It's a great group of like-minded people. It's all about changing our lives and inspiring and encouraging each other, motivating each other to not wait for the perfect circumstances before moving forward in our life. If that sounds like something that resonates with you, join us over there for the Time Is Always Now Facebook group. And every week we have a theme. And this week, the theme was self-awareness. It was being self-aware. How does my actions affect the people around me, in my world, in my experience? So being self-aware is so important. So I'm going to share 3 ways of how important self-awareness is and how it can change your life. And 3 ways that you can use these concepts tangibly in your life today, right now. That's what it's all about. So one of the first quotes I used this week was, self-awareness doesn't stop you from making mistakes. It allows you to learn from them. And I shared a story that I did in running a long time ago. I was running a 5K years ago. I'm talking 2004. I still got the t-shirt. And I was running this 5K. I'd already run a marathon. I'd already run the New York City Marathon in 2003. But I hadn't run too many 5Ks. So 5K is a short distance. I'm speeding through this 5K. And I remember the first mile marker I hit, I ran 6:40. So that's pretty good for me. But I'm going way too fast. I don't recognize it yet. As I'm in the second mile, I pass another guy who I know as a local runner. He's older than me, but I know he's experienced. And I'm wondering, why am I passing this guy? Right? I'm like, I'm gonna smoke this dude in this race. Keep going, get into mile 3, and that bear jumps on my back. And then I'm done. I'm trying to sludge my way to the finish line. And guess who passes me with about half a mile to go? That same guy. See, he knew how to manage all 3 miles with his experience, right? I didn't know that. So I wasn't self-aware enough to know that you can't just sprint through that first mile and then die off in the 3rd mile. You want those mile splits to be as even as possible so you can kick in that last, 100 yards or whatever and get yourself a PR. He knew that. He was self-aware of how to do it. I wasn't. So I had to learn from that, right? So I became self-aware of my mistake, right? Of running too fast in the first mile, and I got better. And so that race wasn't my PR. I ended up running a lot faster than that in another race where I learned how to control my effort in the first and second miles to be able to finish stronger in the third mile. Self-awareness helps you, doesn't stop you from making mistakes, but it helps you learn from them. So take that concept and put it in your life, right? What areas of your life have you made a mistake in, right? And then how can you improve upon it by looking back and being self-aware of what you did to make that mistake. Self-awareness doesn't stop us from making mistakes, but it allows us to learn from those mistakes. Remember this, seek the lesson in everything. And if you seek it, you'll find it. If you go through life and every time you have an experience, you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? That'll change your life. That alone will change your life. Like that will help you become self-aware right there. If you continue to ask yourself, not why is this happening? That's not the question. What can I learn from this experience? If you do that, it makes you self-aware and it'll change your life. It's powerful. It's so powerful. Number 2, right? A person who knows who they are is not afraid or is not intimidated by someone who believes something different than them. Powerful, right? When you are sure of who you are, when people have different beliefs, it doesn't bother you. I walk around all the time and I speak to people all the time who I know have different political beliefs than me. But I know who I am. So it's okay if they have a different political belief than me. I had a great conversation with a woman at a spiritual community about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I know she's a supporter of somebody that I don't support. She came up to me before and she asked me some questions about my book and what I wrote in my book and how when we had a great conversation we talked about 15 minutes before the service even began. And we both, and to credit to her as well, were very self-aware and sure of who we are. So it didn't bother us that each person had different beliefs. We were able to have a conversation without hating each other. What an amazing thing, right? How many times can we do that in our world right now? It seems like it's almost impossible. And we were able to do it, right? We were able to have the conversation and agree that some things we don't agree on. Some things maybe we need to research a little bit more. Both of us, right? Why don't we come back to this? But it was a cordial conversation. Our world needs that. When you are sure and self-aware of your beliefs, you're not intimidated or threatened by someone with a different belief. It doesn't bother you. It's okay. I walk around all the time and I say, it's okay that some people don't believe the same thing I believe. As a matter of fact, newsflash, that's normal. Somehow, I don't know if it's the millennials or somebody has came around and come up and thought that if someone believes something different than me, I should hate them and I might want to do harm to them as well. I don't know where that came from, but that's got to stop. We got to stop that. If you're firm in your belief, great. But be able to have a conversation with someone. Don't feel threatened because someone believes something different than you. That's totally normal. We're human. We don't all believe the same thing. We don't all think the same way. We don't look the same way. We don't act the same way. We come from different backgrounds. All of these things are normal. What brings us together is our oneness and our connectedness to all that is. But when you're self-aware of yourself and your beliefs, you're not threatened by the belief of others. So think about that the next time you have that conversation with the person who thinks differently than you or believes something differently than you. It's okay. It's okay. If you're firm in your belief, their belief doesn't threaten you. And then you get yourself back to your peace, which is where you want to be. That's where you want to live from. Last one is this. Everything that irritates us about others brings us to an understanding of ourselves. It brings us to an understanding of ourselves. I shared this story in my live the other day. When I started college, I was 17 years old, and I was on the basketball team, on a basketball scholarship, and the 4 guys I started hanging out with the most, who were all there too from different places around the country, were all 21. So we started hanging out together, and we were drinking and partying and all this stuff, and there was one of them that was really, really charismatic and funny, and all the ladies liked him, and everybody was the person in the party that everybody wanted to talk to, and it was something about him. His name was Ike. Ike, and it was something about Ike that I didn't like. We hung out. We were cool. We played the same position, point guard. So we kind of went at each other in practice, which was fine, and we'd hang out afterwards. But we just kept butting heads somewhat. I couldn't figure out what was it that irritated me about him. But as I've gotten older, I realized it. See, what irritated me about him was he was charismatic and he was funny, right? He had all the great jokes and all the people liked him and they flocked to him. And I realized what it was, I kind of wanted to be like that too. I kind of wanted to have some of that, not all of it, just some of it. I wanted to be something like that. And I've grown since then to be self-aware of that, you know? And now I am more charismatic, but you might be shocked to know this. I'm not the most outgoing person. When I'm speaking, it's what I do. But outside of speaking, I'm not the most outgoing person, which is okay. I know who I am. I'm self-aware of who I am. But I learned that. I realized, wow, I wish I was a little funnier. You know, I wish I was the guy at the party that everybody flocked to. That's what happened. But I became self-aware of it. And that's what's important. So put that into your life. Put that into your life. What is it that's irritating you about someone else? It's leading you to an awareness of yourself. And when you ask the question, the same question before, what can I learn from this? The answer comes to you. What can I learn from this situation, this scenario that I'm going through? Even if it's not a person, same thing. You're irritated about something going on in your life. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's a health crisis. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? It's bringing you to an understanding of yourself, no matter what you're going through. That's the key. That's the key. That's what I want you to take away from this. Remember, when you're self-aware, you start saying, okay, I'm going through this. I'm going through this, God. But I'm going through this spirit. I'm going through this universe, whatever you want to call it. What can I learn from this? Such a powerful question. That leads you to a place of self-awareness. And then you'll come to the understanding of what it is. Will it happen overnight? I'm not going to say that. It might take time. It might take a day. It might take a week. It might take 6 months. I don't know, but it's going to get you there. If you keep asking, what can I learn from this? It's going to bring you there. That's where you want to be. When you're self-aware like that, it'll change your life. So 3 things that we talked about today I want you to remember is this. Self-awareness does not stop you from making mistakes. It allows you to learn from them. We're always going to make mistakes, but when you become self-aware of those mistakes, you can turn them into learning opportunities. And it's a beautiful thing when you do that. Second one, when you are firm in your beliefs, you're not threatened when someone believes something different than you. It's okay that people believe something different than you. When you're self-aware of who you are and what your beliefs are, you shouldn't be threatened by someone else. That means you should be able to sit down and have a conversation without getting angry, without getting upset, without being mean, without saying nasty words, just allowing them to express themselves, and then you express yourself. When you're able to do that with someone who disagrees with you, then you know you've reached a place of consciousness of self-awareness. If you're still at a place where you can't sit down and talk to somebody because they voted for somebody different than you, then you're not there yet. Keep working on it. Keep working on it. Keep bringing yourself to a peace and being self-aware of your own beliefs and not letting another person's belief threaten you. If you get there, you're in a place of self-awareness. The last one is everything that irritates us about someone else or something going on in our lives is leading us to an understanding of ourselves. It's a mirror. The universe is a mirror. What you see out there is reflecting back what's coming from you. Ooh, I know you don't like to hear that one, but it's true. It's true. So think about that person that irritates you, that situation that irritates you, and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Because that is what the universe is asking you to do, or wants you to do. That's what the universe wants you to do, and that is self-awareness. It will bring you to an understanding. It'll raise your consciousness level. You'll be like, wow, there is something I can learn from this. This is why I'm going through this right now. And going forward, I'm going to do this differently so I don't go through this again. Powerful. Those are 3 keys to being self-aware and how they can change your life. So use these concepts tangibly in your life right here, right now. Don't wait until tomorrow. Start using them today. Start using them right now in this moment of now. If you do that, It'll change your life, and you will be able to unequivocally say, I own the now, and I have won. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Time Is Always Now podcast. I appreciate you being a part of it. And remember to share this podcast with your friends, with your family, with everybody. Just post it out there on social media. I want everyone to be able to get these messages, get this encouragement, and I want everyone to be able to understand that there is no perfect time. There isn't a perfect time. There's no one day, there's no someday, there's no tomorrow. If you're going to change your life, you can only do that right here, right now. Thank you again for joining me for this episode of the Time Is Always Now podcast. My name is Terence Young. I'm signing off. Remember, the time is always now.